And welcome back. Dignitas versus Tricked Esports continues here at the HGC. Currently, Dignitas up 2-0 over Tricked, and part of it really is Poik just showing off that Tracer gameplay. He is plunging into the back line and finding kills, but the team as a unit is just working together and really feeding off of these rotations.
Yeah, definitely. Zelia also on the support is just the backbone of nearly every single play here.
Sure.
So many good plays from him already on the heroes that we've seen from him. So very impressive by Dignitas. Tricked always looking strong, sometimes even in the early game dominating, but at the end of each game, Dignitas emerges as the victor, and that's something that, of course, Tricked is going to try and change now on map number 3.
Well, let's find out. Which battleground are we going to for game number 3? It'll be Tomb of the Spider Queen. Dignitas with the choice is Tricked Esports will elect to go ahead and take that first pick. See if they get their Hanzo once again and their Tyrael. Personally, I want to see a stun tank at that front line here for Tricked Esports. I get it, it's their style, it's their flavor. They like to have their Tyraels or their Arthas, but a hard engage I feel like would do wonders for them.
I would be surprised to not see HGC having a higher priority on this map in particular now. So there's a few things that could definitely happen. We always talk also about how Diablo is at least an option on maps like Tomb and Infernal. We have seen in the past Breeze bring the hero back a bit, and A has always dabbled in him, especially with Medivh compositions. Stitches is another hero we could see here now. We've already had Stitches play on Tomb, but that was also a Dignitas special that helped them to win several tournaments actually. So those are a few things that might change right now, because I agree, their Tyrael play looks fantastic, but having a bit more CC against what Dig is pulling off all the time is probably going to be helpful.
Have you heard from Alex? I haven't actually watched him stream lately. Has he been enjoying another tank that many don't play, D.Va? Did he like her buffs?
I think that Alex is still on the opinion as D.Va doesn't really have a role right now, or very, very situational, not something that they fall back on too much.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't expect her here. I know he always wants to play her, but it's always a question, is she really strong enough and fits into team compositions that they play? Oh, the Zelia respect Dan. Is that the thing that's coming in now?
They're thinking about it here. Malfurion being hovered.
Malfurion excels on this map. Malfurion now, after the rework, as we have seen, is being played a lot more than before and is played very often in combination with Tracer, for example. But before that happened, even before, he was played a lot on this map in particular because of the interrupts, for example, where he can always just move in and get a quick movement in and then interrupt the channel. But yeah, that's something where I like that Tricked is switching it up, because this is the map where they do not have to ban Abathur. But I have to come back to something that I mentioned the first time that we saw Tricked. They should probably rethink their ban strategies slightly. Maybe practice Abathur so that they can pick him if they don't want to play against him.
Sure.
Because at this point, they still feel a bit predictable on that first ban.
Well, they have mixed it up for now. Gul'dan is going to be their first pick. This does leave the Hanzo up and ready. Dignitas have not shown their Hanzo yet, but this is only game 3 that we have seen them this weekend, and I'm sure they can play it just fine.
Yeah. Yeah, you can assume so. But again, it's another one of these games where you can see that there are different priorities here that we see from the teams. And so far, Dignitas hasn't really shown that priority on Hanzo. It's coming back to what HazoOps talked about, that he was a bit surprised also by how much Hanzo was played, considering that during their own scrim sessions, and I can only echo that sentiment because I observed the same, that during scrims he just didn't play as big of a role as he does now. Tricked
needs to be thinking about Johanna here, possibly as a pickup, or as one to ban with the Chromie first pick on the other side. We do have the Chromie and Greymane, the deadly combo that we talked about a couple times this weekend. The boat coming in from Chromie, and the Greymane kill potential is through the roof, but that gets added there when you get a nice wave play hero on this battleground to Spider Queen, and Johanna is always paired in that regard. So Tricked should be thinking about that right now. Do we want to move into our Tyrael? Do we possibly want to grab Johanna for ourselves?
Johanna is one of the heroes that I also wanted to point out, because we talked about this yesterday a bit. She is currently by far the worst tank when it comes to stats. Like, she is at 0 and 5. Johanna hasn't won a game yet. Every single time Johanna is played, she loses. We have seen her a few times now on mainly Tomb, also in Dragonshy was played, but at this point she just doesn't have an impact whatsoever in the win ratio. Rhaegar and Anub'arak, we talked about Anub and how he really emerges as a big factor in other regions. more so than in Europe. Europe has dabbled in Anub, and his win ratio is actually just going up.
We're seeing him more. He's definitely getting a little bit more consistent as a pickup in the last couple of days, and I expect going into next week.
He's 5-1 at this point,
Yeah,
so
we'll
he's sitting at an 80% win ratio, including the game that we saw earlier today, and Tricked is picking up on that, and they choose him here. He has, of course, that dive potential, that shutdown potential in those big fights. We've seen a lot of kills that were just generated by Anuburak closing in on an isolated target, getting a cocoon ready and allowing the rest of the team to move in and confirm the kill.
Lucio will be banned, and we will no longer allow Malthael for this rotation. Dignitas banned him out once again. And we'll see here if Dig does believe in the JoJo, despite her horrific stats right now, not winning a single game so far in Europe. Mixed with a Chromie, it is a good pairing. But there are other options. Yeah, there's still ETC up.
Yeah, not only, there's a lot more. There's ETC, Arthas, you could go into Stitches still, so that's also an option that you still have here. I would be surprised if they go into Johanna. To be absolutely honest, I think there are still heroes that Dignitas and JoJo was actually played by JPL, so it's not like JPL doesn't play the hero, but normally when we're looking at his games across 2017, there's other tanks that he definitely prefers.
Definitely a little bit more reserved on that pickup.
Leoric could be another choice for Dignitas here. They like to play with him. Wubi is good on the hero. Sonya is open in that position as well. Both of them would fit here, but the style that they played with Leoric before and also in the combination with Chromie is something they could utilize on this map.
It's going to be the Johanna and the Leo pickup here for Dignitas. Wave clear city between those two warriors. Leo being that bottom laner. I am kind of curious to what support we'll get for Zelia. Uther is up and available and great with Greymane if you're wanting to secure that kill.
Yeah, and as we said before, Uther is also very, very strong right now. So they go for Johanna after all. Don't go for ETC, Stitches, Mirrodin. Instead, we're having them with Johanna. Might be the first win that Johanna gets in HGC Europe. Of course, the biggest strength that she has, and one of the reasons why in the past she was picked onto the Spider Queen more so than on any other map, maybe with the exception of Infernal, is the wave clear aspect that you already pointed out. Together with her, having Leoric, having Greymane in the mix is definitely going to help them to clear these waves out, since they already realized that on the other hand, we have Gul'dan and he's just a beast on this map.
Yeah, and just added more points to continue why you should maybe think about Johanna and Tomb. The Shield Glare is great for delaying, being a front robust line for that Chromie, allowing her to get the shot she wants is always great. If someone tries to dive past you, the Condemned to pull them away from Chromie is wonderful. Roaming Azul, we talked about it on Friday, and it's finally coming back here for Alex the Proji. Falstad will be the final pickup as well.
Yeah, so trying to go for maybe a few more isolation kills. Not quite sure what I think about this yet. Tricked really looked strong on the first two maps. They impressed me. Here's Uther, as we said before. Looking at 4 wins and 0 losses in HGC Europe at this point.
I've been playing a lot of Zul lately, and I think he's great on this battleground. Great on Frontal Shrines for double soaking, but I am slightly worried at how impactful he'll be into actually helping secure kills against the composition that Dignitas has.
Yes, me too.
I'm a little worried.
I'm not sure if... This feels like a more... I'm not saying that it can't work, because they have shown great play with those heroes before, and especially the roaming Zul variation has netted Tricked in the past. A lot of good kills and a lot of very cool matches as well. The problem is, it still feels a little bit more gimmicky than what we are seeing from Dignitas, and it feels more gimmicky than the compositions that they used before. Might be true, might not be, but if I compare that lineup that they're running right now to what they've used on map 1, map 2, then I think this has a little bit more, okay, let's see if we can surprise them here, then we are going to outplay them.
Yeah, because Johanna and Leoric both have their own tools to deal with the bone person that comes their way. You don't have to burn anything from the support to keep them alive, and they also clear the minions that will be coming into the towers that they have on the side of the map. So it looks good for Dignitas, but we'll see if anyone can pull it off. It's Alex Aproji as we go into game number 3. Can a comeback get mounted here for Tricked Esports, or will we see Dignitas move forward with a clean sweep?
Well, the game begins, and it could be the last map in this series, as we have Tricked starting to the left at a 2-game disadvantage. Make on Falstad, Crosby on Gul'dan this time, Remaball on Nuburak, Alex the Proji on Zul, Gran Paquete on Rega.
On the right side in the red, Wubby will be playing Leoric, Snitch on Greymane, JPL on Johanna, Zelia will be playing Uther, and Poik will be your Chroming.
And this is, of course, now also showcasing again that there is certain overlap in heroes, as we now have Crosby on Gul'dan over Marker on the last game. So there's definitely some hero overlap that they are showcasing, which gives them flexibility for sure to just flex out some of the heroes. At this point, we have a bit of a different ballgame since Malfurion was banned. So there's an attempt to go for the first kill, and Zelia actually was under a lot of pressure here. Great and fast rotation by Trick, nearly netting them the first blood in this game. But Dignitas with a good reaction, able to save Uther.
Good find there by Zul. Big poke coming in, but you're right, Uther is saved, but bruised. Wubby runs to the bottom side to start dealing with the minions as well. And typically, if you don't have a global, then putting 5 in the top would have netted them a loss on a couple of minions, but the global heads down, and that means Trick gets the opportunity to put damage on their opponent, but they also still absorb all experience. Well played by them.
Yeah, so nice, good skin use on the side of Johanna. Well played here. Stun from Baller does not connect, and therefore no extra damage on JPL. At the top, Zul still in position there. And this is definitely going to be a game where we have to watch out for the combo between Uther and Greymane once again. So as we said before, in HGC Europe, Uther is currently sitting at 4-0. Not really the biggest sample size, but just to put that a bit in perspective, if we're looking at his global stats, he is currently in a pretty solid spot with 19 wins and only 4 losses. So if Uther fits into a team composition, he really excels. And with Greymane, he has one of the best combos that we can talk about, since that allows the Wolf to jump deep into the backline and rip a hero like Falstad or maybe Gul'dan to shreds.
He literally prevents the only negative side to playing a Greymane. Hang on, Maka gets picked here on the bottom side with Falstad as Greymane goes forward with the aid of Zelia and Wubby. But the main problem with Greymane is that he does not have his own lifesteal. His survivability is in his mobility. So if you're able to just put a Divine Shield on him, all the tools that he has gets completely empowered. He can move towards the back line, secure a kill, and then dash out right away. That's why you see him being so successful in securing those kills.
Both of the teams also in the meantime now very aggressive towards the camps, and we have the mid camp cleared. The kill at the bot lane, of course, giving Dignitas a slight lead already in experience, as you can see. Rhaegar moved in, was trying to actually get behind the gate, but a great body block that we saw from Wubby prevented him to do so. And then he realized that Uther's stun would be up in just a few seconds again, so he moved out and didn't try to squeeze his way past. So very cool move there by Wubby, making sure that Rhaegar would miss out on a bit of the lane experience at the bottom.
Now, while we're having a bit of a lull here between our teams rotating and getting some turn-ins, just an update on quests. I know a lot of you care about those. Right now, when it comes to Uther, is level 1 is at 47, almost done. Poke in the middle, they're fine. And Chromie right now is at 16 Sandblast, looking for that full 60.
Once again, here comes the aggression. Alex is down. Dignitas just collapses so incredibly well on heroes. Grandpa on the run here, moving out, and he survives for now. But 2 kills against 0 in favor of Dignitas, and they are nearly an entire level ahead as is already. About to turn in for the first Web Weavers. Dignitas doing very well here in the early game of game number 3.
Did you see that move by Poik? The pressure on the Rhaegar made him back up and go behind enemy lines, and then he walked up and did a Bronze Talons on Crosby, and then did up a combo behind where Crosby would be, where Rhaegar would be in a position to give him the heal, expecting to show up there. Now, granted, it didn't net a kill, but I love the mind games that Poik is showing with this Chromie. A lot of people think that Chromie is one of those heroes that you just throw things out on, and to a degree, that's kind of right in Hero League, but Poik takes it to the next level.
Yeah, he's definitely showcasing how strong he is and what an asset he is to the team today. Not only his Tracer plays, but now that he is on a different hero also, that he's just not a one-trick pony. Again, shots being fired here. Alex was trying to interrupt. Level 7 is soon going to come in for Dignitas, and with that talent advantage, they should be able to turn in a bit more. 2 more gems, and they will have the objective ready for them.
And they have them here. Can they come in for the turn-in? Greymane's in the bottom, but Falstead's clearing and defending. JPL attempting to snatch turn-in now. Some delays from a new rack will prevent that from occurring. And Tricked Esports, meanwhile, while stopping the turn-ins, are trying to soak level 7.
Also, we have internal retaliation now taken on level 4 for JPL, so really just trying to get the maximum amount of wave clear in with his hero. So it's all about the cooldown reduction on the condemn for him here. The Red Web Weavers are going to appear in a few seconds. Dignitas looking good. Question just remains, how much will they get out of the first turn-in? Are they going to be able to drop these towers and get closer to level 10 for that infamous double turn-in? or will Trick be able to defend properly here and shut them down early to get a turn in themselves?
Defense for Tricked Esports is quite high with Zool and Gul'dan. Zool's a little bit more risky. You kind of have to get up there and get those minions burned down. And if you have a Greymane nearby or even a Chromie that can chunk you, it becomes much harder to do so. But they should be able to defend it pretty well. It's just a matter of how much aggression Dignitas brings and where they find an isolated incident.
Yeah, right now Greymane is the one at the bot lane. Rega has taken over the top and is trying to keep that safe for as long as he can. And it's really a bit tough for Trick though, so they're mostly spending their time behind the gate, just trying to poke. They cannot really engage into that back line. And Dignitas is in the meantime still looking for kills. Level lead for them. Alex moving to the top. They want to go for Snitch here, trying to maybe even kill him, but Maka is so low that he has a hard time to engage into this. And Zelia does a fantastic job here, staying close. Maka might still fall once the cooldown is ready, and there it is. Yeah, it's going to be a second kill. Great job by Zelia.
Zelia dodging out on the burrow charge. The slowing sands come in. Zelia another stun. Snitch about to go in and try and get some damage in, but the MPL will keep Rimmer alive. But the teamwork between Snitch and Zelia, very apparent that they enjoy working together.
Yeah, and that was Tricked also being a bit too aggressive. The problem was Alex was looking for an opportunity to take Snitch down. Yep. Snitch was really low on Greymane. But with Maka so low on Falstad, he couldn't really go in and help him out, especially since Zelia all of a sudden said, hey, I'm just going to block your path. He put himself between Greymane and the two aggressors and just said, hey, if you want to go for Greymane, you have to go past me. And once they got too close, he just hammered Alex on the ground first with the help of Snitch, and then Maka got too close too and was the second victim. So it was really well played by them, but also a bit too aggressive by Trick, who could have just realized we can't pull it off. And I mean, at this point, Dignitas is just rampant here.
Is it spring? Because Dignitas is cleaning house right now. Tricked Esports is just getting bodied on every aspect of the map.
Yeah, this is like 5 kills against 0, and this is looking very much like a cleanup job. That cocktail again. Rema gets out, but oh boy, are they on point. 2-level lead as Dignitas is just absolutely wrecking this.
And Dignitas is actually taking a fort here before the dreaded second turn-in that we've talked about. JPL already in the front line trying to clear the minions behind the fort, but also allowing his team to step up and auto-attack it. The fort will fall. The one on the bottom is at about half health here. And now Dignitas pulls back to get their turn-in, and they're going to start continuing the shell with Web Weavers.
Yeah, Tricked with the setup that they're having here, especially with Zool, they want to be the aggressors. They don't want to be the team that sits behind the walls attempting to defend. And Nubarak just screams dive. Zool with the roaming ability that Alex was highlighting so often, where he tries to get kills, also wants to be on the move from lane to lane and look for victims. And they don't get that. Dignitas shut all of these attempts down early on, and at that point just flipped the switch and turned on the aggression. Now they're finally on level 10 versus 10, but it's only one level until we see Dignitas on 13 talents, and they're going to achieve that super early because they have the second Web Weaver wave on the way now.
Tricked Esports is looking for a fight, and it's very transparent. Bone Prison has not come out yet, but the Bone Armor has been used, which means Zulus has lost his tool to be a little bit aggressive in forcing a fight with the Bone Prison. They have to abandon the idea of the fight. But the issue has been during that entire attempt to try and find something to happen, Web Weavers are already on the forts on the bottom side and the top. They have given those up. Big Mighty Gus about to come in, but Crosby's already low on health.
Yeah, there comes the Horrify, and the Divine Shield is out immediately. Poik dodging it also with the Time Trap, and that's the end of Zool and Gul'dan. Great move by Dignitas. They saw the fly come in. Everybody reacted in time. Time Trap by Chromie, putting the pressure on the Falstad himself. Then the attempt to capitalize on the gust with a quick Horrify. But Zelia shuts it down right away. All in all, fantastic plays here once again by Dignitas. And they are, I mean, they are absolutely dominating this. 3-level lead, 7-0 kills. Impressive.
And Trick knew that they were behind and they needed to make a desperate attempt at winning a team fight. They went for the Mighty Gus into a Poison Nova combo. The sad part there is Golden got chunked before that fight occurred, and it completely fell apart. And Dignitas is well in the lead. Tricked Esports, no doubt about it, is in a situation where they have to have a dire team fight that they clean up well and then find a turn-in before they start their comeback, and they know this.
Cams are now taken once again. Bot lane alone. They keep already under pressure by the waves, and there's nothing that Trick can really do about it to react to it, because Dignitas is posturing at the top lane and they are threatening boss at this point. It's also a question of turn-ins again. Trick wants to turn in desperately, but they can't really, so they're losing just more and more time here.
I'm scared for him.
Second.
Tomb comes out.
So that's actually the blessed shield that did not really connect here, but the Entomb was spot on. Ancestral hits Alex. They're trying to go in with this. Cocoon is already used, but still Trick doesn't find the kill.
Poison Nova pops out. Divine Shield for the Gray main. Snitch chasing forward. Gets a kill easy on Alex. Goes for Maka as well. The wolf is biting. The wolf is tearing as Snitch continues to come in with a cocktail.
Woof, woof. You haven't found that L yet, did you?
I hate you. I spent 9 minutes in front of the mirror yesterday saying wolf over and over again. And I don't know where the L is.
Why do you say wolf?
I don't know, man.
Say wolf.
It's a Midwest thing. I don't know. Get off me. You're German. That's all I have. 4-level lead here for Dignitas to continue to push, and they're going straight for a keep.
I can't believe, by the way, that it took me a year to notice that.
I don't know, man. This is how life is. They have a night camp here, too. This is looking deadly for the keep. Can Trick hold it? Big swipes coming in from Zool.
And while Trick is desperately trying to change the subject, Dignitas is making the plays, trying to take these keeps down, and the camp in the middle nearly completed the job there, but the kill against Grandpa!
No, he lives?
The wolf survives.
With a half a health point, good for him! And they turn around and get a pick on the other wolf, Greymane. 30 seconds until he's back.
Oh, Greymane is down.
They're doing it!
But there's the kill. Okay. 2 kills for Trick, so they have 13. That was even talents that they have now, and they get the double kill. They have still a couple of gems, but they lost so many already. Most of the gems are on Rimmerballer, by the way, so it was really important that he's able to move out here. But they are still bleeding, they're still suffering. Yes, they slowly and steadily gain a bit of ground here, but if you just look at the structural damage on the map, that tells you all you need to know. Tricked has lost every single fort, they nearly lost the mid-keep, and they haven't even touched the forts of Dignitas yet. If they get a turn in, then maybe they can start something here, but right now it looks really rough. Maybe with a kill against JPL or Whoopi.
They get good patience there on JPL with that bumpers and wait for the Iron Skin duration to fall out of favor for JPL. Now they turn around. They're trying to force this turn in. They know this is their chance to start coming back. Blessed Shield comes out to delay. JPL maybe overstepping. No, Iron Skin comes on just in time, and Wubby comes to the side here to prevent the turn-in from occurring. Alex gets caught on the side. He pops the bone armor to live.
Ancestral comes out as well. There's already the Cocoon out. Horrify being used. They want to kill that. Horrify was maybe a little bit early. Missed it, not really hit properly. Now, there's 2 ways how you can use it. Either you push him back in, or you try to confirm the kill on the Cocoon with the Horrify to push everybody back. And neither was achieved with that move. I also have to say that that JPL, by the way, throws his shields out a lot. Like, he missed 2 already, and he really burns that cooldown quickly. There's a quick trade. Falls that down, so is Leoric.
This game is getting a little dirty here. Crosby with that gold down on the side is putting out a lot of damage on Chromie. Gets her down to a quarter health. The Swelling Sands to keep her alive is helpful. JPL chasing back Crosby for the moment while Snitch deals with Grepiket on the top left. Will he get this kill? A slash comes out, but Grepiket, he's playing with shadows. He's on the side. He's a ninja. He's staying alive. Snitch goes for the cocktail, but misses.
And there comes Rema helping.
He lives!
Grandpa gets away. Nice jukes, but I actually think all he had to do was just continue running earlier instead of turning around and trying to juke him. But it looked good. It looked good either way, and he made it happen as well. So great job by him getting out. But the problem for Tick still remains. 11 kills against 3, and another turn-in for Dignitas would be more than rough. And they have exactly the amount of gems that they need to get the wave. But what about Trick? Can they maybe get the kill here? They go for Snitch. They're moving in. Or the turn-in. Both would be fine. There's still a talent down, but they have to do something. Here comes the Entomb, just as an immediate response.
Alex the Prodigy trying to get away. He does scurry out. Blessed Shield pops 2, but Cleanse will be there to save him. Maka and Rimmer on the top. Snitch trying to find a target, but doesn't see an opportunity yet. Wubby will take some damage on the back line.
Yeah, Wubby is actually going to fall here. That Horrify is going to guarantee that. Leoric is down. Still no 16 for Trick. Trick is they are really fighting here. They want this. They want to stay in this series. But Crosby gets hammered into the ground by Chromie.
Chromie keeping up with the siege potential on the backside, really helping out, especially after finishing that quest, bringing up her damage dramatically. And finally, after a couple minutes of fighting from both of our teams, Team Dignitas will be the victor with a turn-in.
They get the turn in here, and in the meantime, Trick is trying to once again get the camp, but it might get stolen away, and that would probably seal the deal of the mid-keep. Yeah, camp Can't pass Sweat Weavers. There's no way you hold this. The keep is way too low already. They just don't have enough AoE damage to push all of it back.
But Tricked at this point, they can afford a keep. They've already been fighting from behind. A keep in the middle is okay. Can they hold the top and bottom side? That's the major question.
That's definitely true. It would be way worse if it was the top or the bottom side because you can make more plays and play around the opponent. But right now, this is still rough. Again, the Entomb. Here comes the combo. Gus being used, saving Alex for now. Ancestral is not ready though. That's a big problem at this point. Rega had to already save Zul several times here, but Dignitas is still looking for opportunities here. Can they take more than the keep in the middle?
They keep sieging. Coming on the side, Wubby does land a big Q on 2 members there with the Leoric swing. Horrify going to be used to keep him alive.
Yeah, Horrify actually whiffed here. I was expecting Greymane to go in a lot deeper, and Greymane didn't do that. Snitch actually stayed a bit back, so Crosby misses that, doesn't get the value. And in the meantime, Falstad is down as Snitch is ruthlessly moving in and mercilessly kills Falstad. He's down. Here comes the Poison Nova, but Zul is dying for it, and it doesn't look like they can stop Dignitas here.
Crosby trying to stay alive on the top side, but the minion waves are just pouring in from every single angle. Finally, Crosby is going to fall to Wubby on the back line. There it is. The core starting to be shredded by Dignitas as they are looking for a clean sweep in their first game of the weekend here in the HGC. The core is falling down to 40, down to 30, and they continue to have Snitch shredded to pieces. Team Dignitas gets to 3-0 this weekend.
Really well played by Dignitas here. Very impressive performance here today. Against a strong Tricked Esports, they were able to take the series without dropping a single map, and especially their performance on Tomb. A little bit shaky at the end, a bit chaotic there, but overall very impressive and very dominant as well.
Yeah, that is definitely a huge kudos to Tricked Esports keeping themselves in that game. Usually in the past, they would do a couple of major all-in plays and just try to get a big wipe and not work out. They played a sustained battle that they really hung in there with against Dignitas, but Dignitas just showing the strength of this roster and what they can bring to HGC this season, and I can't wait to see more games from them because they are looking spectacular.
Yeah, both of the teams look really strong, and I want to see more games from both of them here. Great synergy on Dignitas' part. They look like a unit, and they had some amazing plays, individual plays as well. We pointed out Poik, Snitch had some big ones as too. On the support side, it was fantastic. And then you have Tricked, which, in comparison to last year, just don't look quite as gimmicky. They look way more refined, I want to say. We heard Remaballer talk earlier about how they are trying to go away from these role swaps. They are trying to take everything a bit more serious, put in more practice time, having more ideas when they go into the drafts. How do we approach this now? And it really shows. It showed already in their first match of the week, but in the second one against an opponent like Dignitas, it was very transparent that this is a different Tricked Esports.
Yeah, I mean, look at Make on the fall stat. I was very critical of him last year when it came to his Mighty Gust, being on time, coming in with the flies, usually a little bit too late. Here, he nailed some perfect ones the last couple of days when they are playing that fall stat. So he's been putting in the work, growing as a player alongside the team. So Tricked Esports, we will continue to say it. We love watching you guys play, and you are growing to be the team that we know that you can be. But again, Dignitas is the victor on this day, the better team overall, as they secure the big win and will go up in the standings slightly. And we have one more match today that we'll get to watch, man. Fnatic finally will get to see against Leftovers.
Yeah, Fnatic against Leftovers is going to show us the last team that we have so far not seen in HGC Europe, and that's, of course, Fnatic. And Fnatic with big changes, bigger so than Dignitas, and also a couple of role swaps. Not only from the new players that came into the team, Mene and Bad Benny, but also Quarknik switched over into the flex position. We're having Mene now more so on the range, the DPS in general, and then Bad Benny, of course, making the switch from Expert, now Team Method, and his role as a main tank heading over into the offlaner. So it's actually really interesting to see how they're going to do with this, but a lot of the teams, as we heard from Echo basically throughout the ranks, have still a bit of work to do when it comes to synergy, when it comes to certain players that just need to expand their hero pool, get a bit more familiar with the timings that they need now, the position that they have to play. So yeah, new year with a lot of new changes and surprises.
Yeah, for me, I'm waiting to see more Mene gameplay. It's probably one of my favorite players to watch when it comes to mage position, but I've also been hearing some things in the shadows that he's been growing his hero pool a little bit more, so hopefully we can see some new toys that he can come out here and be devastating with, and that'll be happening later on. Right now, we're getting ready for an interview with Dignitas' very own Snitch here. Snitch is going to be here on the HGC. Snitch, congratulations on your big victory today, as we'll be talking to him and the rest of the team and how they are coming together as a roster. when he comes in.
Okay.
That's
I was you're announcing, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, wait a second, what?
I got it in the ear.
Okay.
You know what? Josh let me down. They're not ready.
That happened to me lately too. Josh has.
I'm disappointed in you, Josh.
Yeah, it's like I think it's the holidays. You know,
It's the
like it's
holidays.
his first weekend. He needs to get into his rhythm
The
again.
new year, all that fun stuff.
I mean, I have to say it was a pleasure and an opportunity to work with him in 2017, and I'm really grateful I can do that again.
Josh really hates being told that you love working with him. I don't know what it is. He's such a nice guy, and we love working with him.
It has become the studio meme, and I'm pretty sure he appreciates it somewhere.
Yeah, it's good. So we're getting set up for it. Snitch whenever he'll be here around in a couple of seconds. We'll go ahead and get with the interview. We missed out on an interview yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
I was really looking forward to seeing. So we're trying to get those all ready to kinked out and go ahead and have our conversations with our favorite players because we love seeing their faces, man. Watching them on Twitter as well, having discussions, the banter is probably one of the best reasons to be here for Europe.
It's also, when we're looking at the games right now, we have one match left, but there's one thing with the meta where I am very curious to see how it develops over the next few weeks. We pointed out a couple of big differences between North America, Korea, and Europe right now. Tigers again comes to mind, which has seen no play in Europe, but has seen quite a fair amount of games played and also a decent win ratio in both of the other regions in Korea and North America. But the ban rate on Abathur, very little involvement when it comes to actual play. And on certain maps, of course, he doesn't really excel. But every single team seems to really fear him and be afraid going up against him to an extent where Tricked basically bans him no matter if they start as the first pick or the second pick, they always ban him out. And that's not only true for them, that's also true for other teams. And that's really something I want to keep my eye on because Europe always respected Abathur a lot.
Yeah.
But right now, we haven't really seen Abathur come into these games and then be the big game changer that warrants that high priority of a ban. So of course he makes a very flexible draft and has a lot of options here for the players. But that's something that I could see change. That at some point people are saying, okay, let's just let Abathur through the draft or through the first bans and see what happens. Can we deal with that? Especially now that we have more Dehaka and more Falset being played again, so that you can try and counter global him to an extent.
Yeah, one has to wonder, is it more of the ability for him to be able to bolster out an assassin and make them more deadly, especially with double clones, or is it because the split pushing potential that he has available to them, or is it a combination of both, that he helps the team so much in a team fight and he's annoying to deal with if you get behind?
Yeah, and then of course there are several situations with bans and with picks now in general. As we said before, Genji is involved in every single game that we've seen so far in all three regions, but he sees very little play. He's just always banned out. Nobody even wants to bother with him. And this is, of course, first of all, true because he himself can be that big nuisance in the opponent's team, but at the same time, he also makes it so much safer for Hanzo to be played. So even if it's not always the second ban, even sometimes you're in a situation where if you are first pick, first ban, you simply first ban Genji. So if your opponent doesn't get rid of Hanzo, all of a sudden you can play Hanzo and you have no real threat against him. And that's something where we've seen now Tracer being played a little bit more. She can dive into the backline and really put the pressure on, and other heroes in general as well, because Tracer fulfills in that position a similar role than what Genji does. She's that mobile character that can jump into the backline and exploit his weak hit point pool. So that is actually an interesting touch that we've seen now from two teams. We've seen that played by by Dignitas, and we've seen it by Team Liquid. And I feel this is something that's going to happen a little bit more often.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we do have Snitch and ready to go. Snitch, welcome. Congratulations on your big victory today. Look at your team and your roster. You guys are killing it lately. What's so great about being on this new roster?
Our teams were really exciting. Like, obviously, we have a new superstar roster, basically, and it's been very exciting to work with the guys. We have a really great camaraderie already. Like, we all get along really well, and it feels really fun to play. Like, our practice is very serious. We obviously really want to be the best team, but it's very fun to have this kind of like split personalities where we're super jokey at the side as well. And, no one's too serious. I think Whoopi's everyone talks about how Whoopi's opened up a lot.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely see that with our team. He's always laughing and like, he's showing a lot of emotion, and he's saying he wants to smash people, apparently. So I guess we'll have to live up to that.
It's refreshing to actually see that personality, because Whoopi had it deep down inside of him, but now he's bringing it out to light. You do mention that you guys are trying to be the best team, and a lot of teams right now in Europe mention that you guys are. What is your thoughts right now of your power level compared to anyone else in HGC Europe?
I think compared to the rest of the European region, we actually feel like we're sitting really strong. a lot of the other teams, they swap rosters like us, but I think we just had the strongest core. Like our biggest question mark was Zalia, but I think he's come online super fast. He's adapted super fast to his new role, and he's basically playing out of his mind as far as we're concerned, and we're all super happy with that. So I think we've kind of already sort of slipped into this kind of comfortable mindset, whereas the other teams are still adapting and trying to find what they like. So I think at least for now, we're very confident that we're number one.
Awesome.
I think in terms of other teams that look really strong, I think both Method and Fnatic are looking very good. With a little bit more practice, they'll definitely be competing with us. That even now, we definitely like in practice ourselves. We have a lot of close games with them, and we consider them very strong opponents. We're excited to play Method next week because I think it'll be a good establishing game for us to kind of see where we stand as a team if we can take them on strongly in like a competitive environment. But yeah, I mean, Trick played really well today as well. So obviously, I think Europe's looking really strong, even with all the roster changes. People were worried that we wouldn't be the same, but I think we're still proving that we're definitely a top 2 region in the world.
Awesome. Over to Caldor. Thank you.
Right, first of all, also from my side, congratulations. You guys looked fantastic today. Everybody was saying, okay, this is the team to beat, and you just proved that. But you already talked a bit about Tricked, and that's actually where my question is headed, because what would really interest me is, did they surprise you a bit? Because we on the desk were definitely a bit surprised how strong they look compared to the more gimmicky Tricked Esports that we saw last season. And I felt that on the first 2 maps at least, there were always a couple of moments where they looked as if they could maybe turn even the game around against you guys.
I think Trick were a little bit surprising for us. Like they did look very, very good today. I think they got a lot of they've been obviously found their sort of comfortable drafts, and they were looking very strong on the things they'd practiced. I think game 1 was a lot messier from our end than it needed to be. That was the only game we were really concerned about. Obviously, game 2 we had a little fun under the mid keep, but that just happens. Jay jumped. He felt lonely. I wanted to join him. Like it got a little bit fiesta, but I think games 2 and 3 we showed really strong control. Even game 1, I think we had really good macro gameplay, far above them. So I think that was our biggest, if anything, to take away from the series. To compare the 2 teams, it looked like our macro game was a lot stronger than theirs. Even if they were able to, do well in these team fights and find some good skirmishes, I think we showed that we are the stronger team in that sense for sure.
Yeah, we saw that on the mid-keeper as well, and I think it really also speaks very highly of you that you didn't want to let him die alone there, so you jumped in, and that made him look a lot not as bad. So that was really cool from you.
What a kind guy.
Exactly. One more thing on the other hand, when we're talking a little bit about the current meta, what is your personal take on it? We had the support changes at the end of last year, and right now we've already seen in the play that there's currently a lot more solo support. We've seen a couple of double support games. Is that something that for you as a player makes it more enjoyable to play? Because in the past, something that was echoed was oftentimes that it feels very difficult to actually kill something, that it was really difficult to play these games. So is that something that changed for the better, or what's your current take on it?
Did we lose him?
I think that question
Josh,
maybe overwhelmed it a little bit.
We lost Snitch. That's okay.
Yeah.
No big deal. We'll have to get the answer from him at another time. Well,
Did
Snitch,
he just get censored?
I think he's gone
I'm
forever.
not sure
man.
what he said, but he must have.
It was a beautiful smile. It's too good for us here on the HGC. He's too darn handsome.
Are we getting him back? Or
I don't think we're getting him back, man. I think he's
that
gone.
makes me sad. I really wanted to know. Now I have to wait until
Next week against Diamond Skin.
I could ask after next.
Write it in the notebook. You have to keep it in. Well, all right, guys. That's going to be it from Snitch. Congratulations, Snitch, if you're still out there. Great job winning today, guys. Dignitas looking fantastic with the 3-0 win today over their opponents, Tricked Esports. Tricked Esports, keep kicking, man. We love watching you guys play. The next series of the day is going to be a fantastic one.